Daniel was a young man who carried the weight of poverty on his shoulders. He had nothing but a few dollars, his dreams, and the stubborn hope that life could still change. On a distant colony world, far away from Earth, he walked through the alien bazaar. The market was alive with strange colors, glowing signs, and the smell of burning oils from a dozen species. He kept his hand inside his pocket, feeling the thin, crumpled bill of $10. It was all he had left, $10 in a world where money meant survival, food, air, water. Everything cost something. Daniel knew he could spend on a meal, live one more day, and keep struggling, or he could risk it, hoping for something more. The bazaar merchants laughed at him as he passed. They saw the way he looked, the way his clothes hung loose, patched and faded. To them, he was just another desperate human, a weak creature in a galaxy filled with stronger, richer races. Daniel kept walking, ignoring their cruel stares. His eyes searched for opportunity, for anything that could change his path. Then he saw it. Hidden between the stalls of shining weapons and glittering jewels stood a shadowed corner. There, under a torn canvas roof, sat an old alien merchant. His skin was green and cracked, his eyes dull but sharp, and behind him, half covered in dust and shadows, was a ship. At first glance, Daniel thought it was junk. The hull was scratched and broken, the wings crooked, the design was strange, old, almost forgotten. No one else seemed to notice it. The crowd walked past as if it did not exist. The merchant smiled when Daniel stopped. His teeth were yellow and sharp. His voice cracked as he said, "You like the ship? Human, it can be yours. Only $10. Daniel froze. His heart beat faster. $10? For a ship? That was impossible. Even the smallest broken shuttle cost more than he could imagine. He stared at the alien, waiting for the joke, but the merchant's smile did not fade. "Why 10? Daniel asked, his voice quiet. "Because no one wants it," the alien said. He leaned closer, his breath sour. "The ship is cursed. The last 10 who touched it never returned. I will not keep curse metal in my shop, but maybe you are foolish enough to try." The crowd nearby laughed. A group of tall insectoid traders pointed at Daniel. Their clicking voices mocked him. "Look, the poor human thinks he can buy a starship." Daniel's fists clenched, his pride burned. He looked again at the ship. Something inside him stirred. It was not beauty. It was not power. It was something deeper. The ship seemed alive, as if it was waiting, calling. He thought of his life. $10 could buy him food for 2 days. After that, nothing, hunger, despair, death, or he could take the risk by the ship, and maybe fate would finally give him a chance. Slowly, Daniel pulled the wrinkled bill from his pocket. His hand shook as he placed it on the merchant's table. The alien's eyes gleamed. He took the money and pointed to the ship. "It is yours now. Human, take it, and let the stars judge your fate." The crowd roared with laughter. Some shouted bets on how quickly Daniel would die. Others turned away, already forgetting him. But Daniel ignored them. He walked toward the ship, his chest heavy with fear and hope. The closer he came, the more he felt it. A strange hum filled the air, low and deep. His skin tingled, his heart raced. The ship's ramp lowered with a hiss, as if welcoming him. Daniel swallowed hard and stepped inside. The interior was dark, but not dead. Lights flickered on, panels glowed, the air smelled of metal and dust. He placed his hand on the control panel. It was warm, alive. Symbols glowed across the console, shifting until they became English. A voice filled the ship, calm and mechanical, yet strangely human. Captain identified. Daniel staggered back. His breath caught in his throat. Captain? Him? The ship had chosen him. He looked around. Every light now shining bright. Systems coming alive. For a moment, Daniel forgot the laughter outside. He forgot the poverty, the hunger, the weakness. For the first time in his life, he felt powerful. He felt destiny moving. $10. That was all it cost. $10 for a ship that was more than it seemed. $10 for a choice that would change his fate forever. Daniel stood inside the strange starship, the air thick with a quiet hum. It felt less like metal and wires, and more like something alive. The lights pulsed gently, almost like a heartbeat. He had never been inside anything like this before, and yet, deep down, it felt familiar. as if the ship had been waiting for him all along. The console glowed brighter when he approached. Alien symbols rippled across the screens, shifting and rearranging until they formed words in English. Captain recognized. The ship said again, its voice steady and calm. Daniel swallowed hard. His throat was dry. He had never been called captain before, not even in his dreams. He lowered himself into the seat. It molded to his body like it was designed just for him. His hands hovered over the controls. Uncertain, he had never flown even a small shuttle, but the ship seemed to guide him, as if whispering instructions through the very air. With a hesitant breath, Daniel pressed one of the glowing panels. Instantly, the ship responded. Systems came alive. The hum grew stronger. Engines deep within the hull purred like a sleeping beast awakening. Outside, the laughter of the crowd faded as the ship sealed itself shut. Daniel's heart pounded. He felt trapped and free at the same time. He touched another control, and suddenly the walls around him shimmered, turning transparent. The market, the aliens, the endless stars above, all visible through the ship's strange glass. It was as if the vessel wanted him to see everything. "Why me?" Daniel whispered. He didn't expect an answer, but the ship replied. Chosen genetic resonance confirmed. Human pattern matches pilot sequence. The words meant little to him, but the meaning was clear enough. The ship had selected him, and only him. He leaned back in the seat, breathing heavily. He tried to calm the storm inside him. This was insane. He had spent $10 on what everyone thought was junk, and now here he was inside a living starship that called him captain. The console lit again, showing maps, star charts, and energy levels. Daniel's eyes widened as he realized this was no broken wreck. This ship was powerful, far beyond anything humans had built. He could see hidden systems, engines that bent space, weapons that glowed with unreadable alien technology, and yet everything waited for his command. Suddenly, the ship shuddered. Daniel's grip tightened on the armrest. "Warning," the voice said calmly. "Unidentified scanners approaching." A projection appeared in front of him, showing alien raiders circling above the market. Their ships were sharp and fast, like predators sniffing for prey. Daniel's pulse quickened. He wasn't ready for this. He wasn't ready for anything. But the ship did not hesitate. Panels glowed with options. Engage engines, lift off, activate defenses. The choice was his. The weight of command pressed on him. He thought of the laughter outside, of the insectoid traders mocking him, of the alien merchant who called the ship cursed. Maybe they were right. Maybe he was a fool, but when he looked at the glowing controls, he felt something else, hope. With trembling fingers, he pressed the command to start the engines. The ship roared, a sound deep and powerful that shook the air. The ground beneath trembled as the vessel lifted slowly into the sky. The market below erupted in chaos. Aliens scattered, some screaming, some pointing in shock. The $10 ship was flying. Daniel's body pressed into the seat as the ship rose higher. The stars filled his vision. His chest tightened. His dream, flying into space, was becoming real. The raider ships turned toward him, closing in fast, their lights flashing like hungry wolves. "Threat detected," the voice said. "Engage defense mode?" Daniel froze. His hands hovered. He didn't know what defense mode even meant, but something inside him whispered that the ship would protect him. He nodded slowly. "Do it," he said. His voice cracked, but the ship understood. Panels slid open along the wings. Energy pulsed and gathered. The ship came alive in ways Daniel could not imagine. The raiders fired first, beams of light cutting through the darkness. Daniel flinched, expecting to die. But the ship moved on its own, faster than his eyes could follow. The blasts missed, glancing harmlessly off a glowing shield. Then the vessel retaliated. A single shot of pure energy erupted, striking one raider's ship. It exploded in a flash of fire and debris. Daniel gasped. His hands shook. He had just destroyed an alien warship without even aiming. The ship's voice was calm. Target neutralized. Remaining threats advised to retreat. The other raiders scattered, their courage broken. They fled into the stars, leaving Daniel alone. His heart raced. His hands gripped the controls so tightly they hurt. He could barely believe what just happened. For the first time in his life, he was not powerless, he was not weak. He was not just a poor human with $10. He was captain of something far greater, a ship with secrets, a ship with power. Daniel sat in silence, the stars shining around him. His life had changed in minutes, and deep down he knew this was only the beginning. Daniel sat frozen in the captain's chair. His chest rose and fell with uneven breaths. His hands trembled over the glowing console. The ship had saved him. It had fought back. It had destroyed an enemy vessel without hesitation. He had not earned that victory, and yet it was his. The marketplace below had become a blur. The crowd of aliens who once mocked him now stared in awe. Some ran, some hid, but all of them knew one thing. The cursed ship had awakened, and the human they laughed at was now its master. The voice of the ship spoke again, calm but firm. Engines stable, shields holding, weapons on standby, awaiting captain's orders. Daniel blinked. His throat felt dry. He had never given orders to anyone, much less to a living starship. His instinct screamed to run, to flee into the darkness of space and hide, but a deeper part of him whispered to push forward, to see what this ship could truly do. He touched the throttle. The ship responded instantly. It surged upward with smooth power, leaving the alien market far behind. The ground vanished. The horizon curved, and soon only the endless stars stretched before him. Daniel gasped. His eyes widened. He was leaving the world behind. The stars had always been distant dreams for him, lights in the sky he could never reach. Now they lay open, vast and endless. The hum of the engines became a song in his ears, steady and powerful. He felt lighter, freer, as if he had shed the chains of his old life. But freedom came with danger. The raider ships had not given up. Sensors lit up with red markers as 3 vessels closed in from behind, sleek and sharp. Their engines burned like fire as they closed the gap. Warning, the ship's voice said, hostiles approaching, weapons locked on target. Recommend evasive maneuvers. Daniel's pulse quickened. His palms grew wet. He had no training, no skill, no plan. But the ship seemed to sense his fear. The controls shifted slightly under his hands, guiding him, showing him what to do. Trust me, the voice said softly. For a moment, Daniel wondered if he imagined it. The ship sounded almost human. The raiders fired. Brilliant beams cut across the void. Daniel panicked, jerking the controls. The ship rolled sharply, the blast narrowly missing. His stomach lurched as the vessel spun, but the seat adjusted, holding him steady. Focus, the voice urged. I will guide you. Together we will fly. Daniel gritted his teeth and tightened his grip. The raiders circled like predators, their lights flashing, their weapons ready. He followed the ship's guidance, tilting left, pulling back, diving suddenly. The movements felt natural, as if the ship's instincts were his own. Then the weapons activated, panels lit with symbols that pulsed like a heartbeat. Daniel's finger hovered. He hesitated. He had never killed before, never fought, but the raiders showed no mercy. If he didn't act, he would die. With a shaky breath, Daniel pressed the trigger. The ship roared. A blast of pure energy tore across the stars. One raider ship exploded instantly, fragments spinning into the void. The others scattered, surprised by the sudden strike. Daniel's heart pounded. His body shook. He had done it. He had fired. He had destroyed an enemy ship. A rush of fear and pride mixed inside him. The voice spoke again. Captain, enemies retreating, victory secured. But Daniel knew this was only the beginning. His actions had been seen. In the galaxy, nothing went unnoticed. He had revealed the ship's power, and with it, himself. As the raiders fled, Daniel leaned back in the chair, his breaths ragged. He looked out at the stars. They no longer felt distant. They felt alive. They felt like a challenge. The console shifted, displaying strange logs, old data written in alien code. Some of it translated, hinting at battles long forgotten, at wars that stretched across galaxies. Daniel felt the weight of it. This was not just a ship. It was a relic of power, a weapon of legends. And now it was his. Daniel closed his eyes for a moment. He thought of the bazaar, the laughter, the 10 crumpled dollars he had handed over. That choice had carried him here. into the vast unknown. His fate had shifted, his life forever changed. But with that change came questions. Why him? Why now? And what dangers would follow once the galaxy realized the cursed ship had returned? The voice interrupted his thoughts. Captain, destination required, plot a course. Daniel opened his eyes, staring at the endless map of stars. A million paths stretched before him. Some led to safety, others to danger. But one thing was certain. He was no longer a bystander, no. Longer a powerless human drifting through life. He was the captain of a ship that had chosen him. He took a deep breath. His hand hovered over the controls. His heart beat faster. Whatever he chose now would shape everything that followed. And for the first time in his life, Daniel smiled, not with hope, but with determination. "Let's see where destiny takes us," he whispered. The ship's engines roared, the stars blurred, and together, man and machine leapt into the unknown. The stars stretched endlessly before Daniel as the ship glided through space. The silence of the void surrounded him, broken only by the soft hum of the vessel. He could still feel the tremor of the last battle in his bones. The raiders had fled, but his heart was far from calm. He leaned forward, staring at the glowing console. The ship's systems shifted on their own, showing strange schematics and unreadable alien text. Then, slowly, the words began to rearrange into English. Weapons locked, energy reserves full, hidden systems dormant. Daniel frowned. His fingers hovered over the glowing controls. "Hidden systems?" he whispered. The ship answered at once. "Classified. Access restricted. Authorization required." Daniel leaned back, frustrated and curious. He was captain, yet there were things even he could not command. He thought back to the moment he first stepped aboard, how the panels had come alive at his touch. He knew the ship was more than metal, more than circuits. It felt alive. It felt like it was waiting for him to grow into something greater. The hum in the air grew stronger, as if the ship sensed his thoughts. Suddenly, the lights dimmed. The console flickered. A new projection appeared. A glowing orb, shifting and pulsing like a heartbeat. The voice spoke. "Captain, do you wish to unlock restricted protocols?" Daniel hesitated. Fear and excitement warred inside him. Unlocking hidden power sounded dangerous, but his curiosity burned brighter than his fear. He nodded slowly. "Yes." The projection brightened. Symbols filled the air, spinning around him. His skin tingled, a strange energy crawling up his arms. His vision blurred for a moment. Then the voice declared, "Authorization confirmed. Genetic pattern matches legacy code. Hidden systems unlocked." Panels slid open around the cockpit, revealing weapons and tools Daniel had never seen. A low vibration shook the ship as dormant engines came alive. He felt the surge of energy through the seat, through the floor, even through his bones. The ship wasn't just powerful. It was ancient, carrying technology far beyond human understanding. A sudden alarm blared. Incoming threat detected. The display showed 3 raider vessels reappearing on his trail. This time, they came prepared, flying in tight formation, their weapons glowing brighter. Daniel gripped the controls. His heart pounded. The ship's voice spoke again. "Shall we demonstrate hidden power?" Before he could answer, the raiders opened fire. Bright streaks of plasma cut across the darkness. Daniel panicked. Jerking the ship left, the blast grazed the shields, sparks flying across the panels. He cried out, "Do it! Show me what you can do!" The ship responded instantly. The cockpit lit with crimson glow. Panels expanded, revealing strange alien glyphs. Energy gathered in the wings. A deep vibration filled the air, as if the vessel itself growled. Engaging Omega Protocol, the voice said calmly. The ship spun with impossible speed. Faster than Daniel could react, beams of energy shot outward, weaving through the void like living lightning. One raider ship was torn apart in seconds. Another tried to flee, but the lightning curved, chasing it down and ripping it apart. Only one ship remained, trembling, engines stuttering as it tried to escape. Daniel stared in awe. His mouth hung open. He had never seen such destruction. The ship had destroyed 2 raiders in less than a heartbeat. The final enemy vanished into hyperspace, too terrified to stay. The lights dimmed again. The crimson glow faded. The voice spoke, calm as ever. Omega protocol complete. Power level stable. No damage sustained. Daniel leaned back. His hand shook. His breath came fast. What are you?" he whispered. The voice paused before answering. "I am a relic of war. Forged to protect. Forged to destroy. My creators are gone, but their purpose lives within me. You are my captain now. Your fate is bound to mine." Daniel shivered. The weight of those words pressed against his chest. He thought back to the bazaar, to the laughter of the aliens, to the merchant who claimed the ship was cursed. Maybe it was cursed, or maybe it was destiny. For $10, he had bought not just a ship, but a weapon of legends, a vessel feared by raiders, a vessel that obeyed only him. The ship's panels shifted again, showing data about galaxies far away, hidden factions, and warnings marked in red. "Enemies will come," the voice said. "They will fear your power. They will seek to destroy you. But together, we will endure." Daniel closed his eyes. His heart raced. He knew life would never return to what it once was. He was no longer just a desperate man with $10. He was captain of a warship older than history, a ship alive with secrets. And the galaxy had just felt the first taste of its hidden power. The silence after battle was heavy. Daniel sat in the captain's chair, his hands trembling, the glow of the panels casting strange shadows across his face. The ship had unleashed power beyond imagination. It had fought like a beast from legend, and now it rested as if nothing had happened. Daniel's mind spun with questions. What kind of ship was this? Who had built it? Why had it chosen him? His eyes scanned the glowing console, hoping for answers. As if hearing his thoughts, the display changed. New symbols formed, shimmering across the air. Slowly they shifted into English. "Captain, would you like to access the archive?" Daniel hesitated. His chest tightened. The word archive carried weight. Secrets lay hidden there, things no one else in the bazaar had dared to touch. He nodded slowly. "Yes, show me." The cockpit darkened. A projection filled the air. It showed battles. Massive fleets clashing in the void, ships larger than cities unleashing storms of fire. Daniel gasped. His eyes widened. He had never seen such destruction. The voice spoke over the images. "This vessel once belonged to the Vanguard, protectors of the outer reach, champions of war." Daniel leaned forward. "Vanguard?" he whispered. The name felt ancient, powerful. The ship continued. The Vanguard were warriors feared across galaxies. They fought to keep balance. But their enemies were countless. This vessel, designated Erevan, was their blade. Thousands fell to its power. Thousands fled at its name. Daniel's stomach twisted. He realized what the merchant had meant. The ship wasn't cursed. It was feared. Its history was soaked in war and blood. And now it belonged to him, a poor human with $10. The projection shifted again, showing a tall alien warrior clad in silver armor. His face was stern, his eyes burning with purpose. "This was the last captain," the voice said. "His name was lost, but his deeds echo still. He vanished in battle 3 centuries ago. The ship lay dormant, awaiting a successor." Daniel felt a chill. 300 years. Waiting. The ship had been silent for generations, abandoned, feared, forgotten, until he stumbled upon it in a dusty corner of the market. "Why me?" Daniel whispered again. His voice cracked. The ship responded. "Your genetic pattern resonates with the legacy code. You are compatible. You are chosen." Daniel sat back, his chest heavy. Chosen. The word echoed in his mind. He had never been chosen for anything, never trusted, never valued. And now, a vessel of ancient war claimed him as its master. The projection changed again, showing records of planets burning, enemies defeated, and fleets shattered. Daniel's heart pounded. This ship was not just powerful. It was infamous. He remembered the mocking laughter of the aliens in the bazaar. No wonder they had laughed. No one sane would touch such a vessel. But Daniel wasn't like them. He had nothing to lose. The voice softened, almost like a whisper. "Captain, the Vanguard are gone. But their enemies remain. They will seek this ship. They will seek you. Are you prepared to carry the burden? Daniel clenched his fists, his body shook. He wanted to say no, to deny it, but deep inside, he felt the fire of something new. Courage, the same courage that had pushed him to trade his last $10. The same courage that made him sit in this chair when everyone else ran. He whispered, "Yes, I'll carry it." The ship pulsed, its lights brightening as if satisfied. The hum grew steady, warm. "Then the legacy continues," it said. Daniel leaned back, his mind spinning. The archive faded, the cockpit lights returning to normal, yet the weight of history lingered. The merchant's mocking smile haunted him. The laughter of the crowd echoed in his ears. But now he knew the truth. He hadn't just bought a starship. He had inherited a legend, a weapon once wielded by warriors who shaped galaxies. And for better or worse, that legend was now his to carry. Daniel looked out into the stars, his heart heavy but burning with determination. He wasn't sure what lay ahead, but he knew one thing. His life would never again be small. $10 had bought him more than a ship. It had bought him destiny. The hum of the ship was steady, but Daniel's thoughts were storming inside his mind. The archive had shown him the truth. The ship was not a bargain, not a piece of junk, but a relic of war, feared across galaxies. Every battle it fought was carved into history, and now he was its captain. For hours he sat in the chair, staring at the stars. His heart was torn between fear and hope. A poor man with $10 had no right to wield such power. Yet here he was, holding the legacy of warriors long gone. The ship's voice interrupted his silence, calm as ever. "Captain, long-range scans detect vessels searching. Raiders spread across the sector. They search for the ghost ship." Daniel's breath caught. Ghost ship. That was its name among the stars. He understood now why the merchant wanted it gone, why the crowd laughed. They knew this vessel carried death and enemies. Whoever flew, it would be hunted without mercy. "Can we hide?" Daniel asked quietly. The ship paused before answering. "Yes, but not forever. Enemies grow in number. They fear what you now carry. They will not rest until you are destroyed." Daniel leaned forward, gripping the armrest, his stomach twisted. Running would mean survival, at least for a while, but running would also mean living in shadows, hunted, always afraid. He thought of his life on the colony, poor, invisible, forgotten. That life had been nothing but running from hunger and despair. If he chose to hide now, nothing would change. His jaw tightened. His mind flashed back to the archive. The alien warrior in silver armor. The battles fought. The victories won. The ship had chosen him not to run, but to stand. The voice spoke again, softer this time. "Captain, the choice is yours. Hide and live in fear, or fight and embrace destiny." Daniel's pulse raced. He thought of the laughter in the bazaar, the mocking voices that called him weak. He thought of the raiders who had chased him, confident that he would be easy prey, and he thought of how it felt when the ship destroyed them, when the stars bent around him, when power surged through his hands. Slowly, he stood from the chair. His reflection in the glass looked different now. He was no longer the desperate man who handed over a wrinkled bill. He was captain. He was chosen. "I won't hide," Daniel said. His voice was steady. His fear did not vanish, but something stronger burned with it. Courage. "If this ship chose me, then I'll fight. No more running." The lights across the cockpit brightened. The hum deepened. The ship seemed almost alive with approval. "Acknowledged, Captain. Preparing for combat protocols. Shall I plot a course toward the nearest enemy fleet?" Daniel took a deep breath. His hands still trembled, but his heart felt firm. He nodded. "Yes, let's face them." The console shifted, star maps appearing, red markers glowing like blood in the void. One enemy fleet stood closer than the rest. Raiders gathering, preparing to hunt. Daniel's path was clear. As the engines roared to life, Daniel felt the weight of his choice. This was no longer about $10, no longer about survival. This was about proving himself, about seizing the fate that had always felt out of reach. The ship surged forward, cutting across the stars. Daniel's hands gripped the controls. The fear inside him remained, but it no longer controlled him. For the first time in his life, he was not a victim of chance. He was the master of his destiny. And somewhere deep inside, He felt the galaxy itself begin to notice. The ghost ship had returned, and with it, a new captain who had chosen to fight. The ship roared through the stars, Daniel's hands firm on the glowing controls. His heart pounded. Not from fear, but from resolve. He had chosen his path. And now, there was no turning back. The ghost ship carried him toward the Raider fleet, its engines burning like fire in the darkness. Ahead, red markers filled the projection, dozens of ships waiting. They were larger, stronger, far more dangerous than the scattered raiders he had fought before. Yet Daniel did not flinch. He had lived his whole life powerless, ignored, mocked. If he ran now, he would only return to that shadow. But if he stood and fought, he could carve a new destiny. The ship's voice spoke, calm and certain. Enemy fleet detected, shields charged, weapons fully operational, awaiting command. Daniel's throat tightened, his palms dampened with sweat, but his voice was steady as he whispered, "We fight." The stars erupted into chaos. The enemy fleet opened fire, streams of energy cutting through the void. The ghost ship moved like lightning, faster than thought. Its shields flared, absorbing the impact. Daniel gritted his teeth, clinging to the controls as the ship weaved through the storm. Targeting priority, the ship asked. Daniel hesitated for only a second, then pointed at the largest vessel at the center, that one. Energy gathered within the wings, glowing brighter than suns. A blast of pure power erupted, striking the enemy flagship. The explosion lit the void, fragments scattering like fire across the stars. Panic rippled through the Raider fleet. Their formation broke, their courage shattered. Daniel pressed forward, his fear melting into determination. He fired again and again, each shot tearing ships apart. Each move guided not only by instinct, but by the ship itself. It was as if they fought together, man and machine bound by a single will. The raiders tried to flee, but the ghost ship hunted them, its weapons curved like serpents of light, chasing down stragglers, tearing through their defenses, one by one. The enemy fell, until silence returned to the stars. Daniel leaned back in his chair, gasping for air. His body shook from the intensity of the battle. His chest ached, but his spirit burned brighter than ever. He had faced an entire fleet and survived. No, he had conquered it. The ship's voice broke the silence, softer now, almost proud. "Victory secured, Captain. You have done what many thought impossible." Daniel looked at the wreckage floating in the void. His reflection in the glass showed a man transformed, no longer a poor human mocked by strangers, no longer invisible. He was something more. In that moment, he understood $10 had not bought him a ship. It had bought him purpose. It had bought him power. It had bought him a destiny written in the stars. The galaxy would whisper his name. Raiders would fear him. Others would seek him. Some would try to kill him, but others might follow him. For the ghost ship was no longer silent, and its captain was no longer weak. The voice spoke again. "Captain, new signals detected. Some vessels flee, but others watch. The galaxy is awakening to your return." Daniel smiled faintly. His body was exhausted, but his heart was steady. He had chosen not to hide, and now his choice would echo forever. He whispered, "Then let them watch. Let them see what a human can do." The ship pulsed with energy, its hum growing stronger, as if sharing his resolve. Together, they turned toward the endless expanse of stars. The future was uncertain, filled with enemies, battles, and dangers beyond imagination. But for the first time in his life, Daniel welcomed it. For $10, he had bought more than a ship. He had bought a legend. And with every battle, every victory, he was becoming one himself. The fate of a poor human had changed forever, and with him perhaps the fate of the entire galaxy.